Hello, everyone. My name is Cassandra Williamson. I am coming to you on the midday muster. That's a time where we can get together and just shout at each other and go, get in line, line up, get ready for that vaccine. Uh-oh, somebody just ran when I said that. Anyway, I'm coming to you from this very rainy holler in eastern Kentucky. And that's the way we say it around here. It's a holler. It's spelled hollow, but it's pronounced holler, just so you know. Okay. We're right next to West Virginia. We're only about 5 miles, either 5 or 6 miles either direction. That way, or that way. You can go around and get there either way. I was born in Williamson, West Virginia, and lived and grew up in eastern Kentucky, right here in Pike County, Kentucky. So it's been very rainy out, and it's supposed to be even worse this afternoon with possibility of hail. So my car has got its hail blanket on today. Yep. I want to thank my buddy from down in, my good friend from down there in Florida for sending that thing up here to me. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So if you have any idea about what we're going to talk about today, you probably got an email or something. You saw it on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or the other Twitter or wherever. It's out there all over the place, YouTube, everywhere. You can find what the topic was going to be today and is going to be today. First thing is, James Comey said something yesterday that has absolutely taken over the airwaves over on the right. Fox News just can't get enough of it. James Comey put an image out that said 86-47. Now, those of us in the military have worked in industry or done anything like that. We know what 86 means. It means take out the trash usually, or get rid of the trash. And or out on a boat or a ship, submarine or a ship, then you're also 86ing your trash. It goes into the Missouri and gets flushed with a lead weight in the bottom and goes to the bottom of the sea, at least in a submarine. So, yeah, there was nothing really nefarious about that statement, because how many times have we heard people talk about Biden this and Biden that and Biden everything and all of that? We need to get rid of him and haul him out. And I mean, I've heard some atrocious comments over on the right, and I watch a lot of the Fox News programming, some of it as much as I can handle. I get a kick out of a lot of it, and not some of it. Just I have to ask myself, where did they come up with that? How did they define that? Really. So James Comey said 86-47. 86 part, we know what that means, right? It means take out the trash, flush the trash, get rid of this part. 86 the plan, 86 the car, 86 the plan is get rid of it and start over. There's nothing nefarious about that. It doesn't mean kill someone. It just means take out the trash. And a lot of Democrats, rightly or wrongly, consider that Trump and Trump administration and his billionaire acolytes to be worthy of being 86, hauled out and replaced in 2026 and 2028. And that's essentially what's going on there. Now, he could have been a little bit more discreet, probably, but no, he said what he meant. Now, the problem is he came out later on and said, I didn't really know what that meant. He knew what that meant. He wasn't referring to killing someone either. He was referring to take out the trash, because we've got trash in the White House. We've got trash in the Defense Department right now with Pete Hegseth, who can't think next level thinking. Doesn't know how to do that. Or at least his next level thinking is influenced by everything that he has been taught and believes, and his faith, and mostly his faith, and it's Christian nationalism. Now, let me just put a little caveat right there for those of you who are watching this. That's who he is. That's who he has been for a long time. That is who a lot of these people in the leadership positions across the federal government today came from. Kevin Roberts at Heritage Foundation, same thing. Catholic, yes, but still Christian nationalism. Same thing with Vance. Yeah, JD is the extreme edge of Catholicism. Okay, and we know that. We know that these people came from there. But Trump, on the other hand, he is just the only thing that matters to him is succeeding and making money and winning and making money, and whatever it entails for him to do that, he'll go. If it's a good thing that actually causes that to happen, fine, he'll do that too. But if it's a bad thing that actually is immoral, he'll do that too. It just doesn't matter. If it's immoral or moral, it doesn't matter to President Trump, because that's how he wins now. That's how he thinks he wins. And well, he does. He's very successful at it, actually. Though I do have a problem with the Arab Force One. Arab Force One. Now, that name I didn't come up with that name. That came out from Bill Kristol on his Substack right here. He said, I called the Constitution Police and they said you're going to jail. Arab Force One is either a gift or a bribe for Bill Kristol. Y'all know who Bill Kristol is? You know, one of those conservative icons from way back when. Been pushed to the side now ever since Tea Party crap started back 2008. But yeah, Bill Kristol, conservative thinker, actually just a straightforward, principled thinker is more like it. But he calls that big plane that Qatar is giving to President Trump, well, Defense Department. He calls that Arab Force One, and I have definitely, I'm on board with that. I am on board with that one. It's Arab Force One. And as Bill Kristol said in a post I received from him this morning, 9:36 a.m., it said, I called the Constitution Police and they say you're going to jail. Arab Force One is either a gift or a bribe, and both. It can be both at the same time. You know, it can be a gift and a bribe, or it can just be a gift, or it could be a bribe. Whichever way you want to take it, it doesn't matter. But I mean, come on, really? That thing is only going to do one thing. That makes Trump feel like something. Why? Because, you know, it was the Qatari royal family who owned that thing and flew around in it. It's made and suited for a royal family and decked out on the inside for all of that. And it makes Trump feel like, you know, a king. That's what it does. See, it pads his ego. He says, you are worthy of being a king, President Trump. So I want you to have this very stately and very beautiful jet, this big, beautiful jet. It's already made up the way you want it. It makes him feel good. That's what Trump has to have in his head. And did you watch what he was saying when he was talking with the prince? They started talking about groceries. Trump doesn't understand groceries. He actually called groceries an old-fashioned word. Well, most of the country, and literally most of the country, I mean, groceries is not an old-fashioned word. Groceries is a necessity. And it's being challenged today by what we're seeing coming out of this White House. Not just on tariffs, not just on stripping stuff away from our farmers and all this kind of stuff and making life more difficult. And by saying, he goes, you know, it'll be all right. Just hang on tight. It'll be fine in the end. You'll see. It'll come out. Now, let me say something about that. He's been right on some of those things. Trump has been right on some of those things. So don't go out there and make some big deal out of something, because these stories have a tendency to turn around on you and slap you in the face. And that's what the Democratic Party is doing right now. What they're trying to do is go after every little fire that pops up in front of them. And they're going, let's get that one. Oh no, let's go over here and get that one. They've got no plan and no action to move forward and no way to get there. That's where they are right now. They're spending way too much time on things that absolutely do not matter in the end. And a lot of what President Trump is doing will and does work. That's the hard part for a lot of people to grasp. We did need to level the playing field on the tariffs. Absolutely needed to. For 70 years, we've been raked over the coals with those things. We had an economy that could sustain it too, but as the world's economy and the economic base of the other nations started to come up again after World War II, those tariffs that they were imposing on us should have been relieved a little bit to maintain parity. I understand why they started out with them. We all do, mostly. I'm not sure Trump really does, but he likes tariffs. But anyway, once they had achieved economic parity, manufacturing parity, or whatever, and gotten close to that, academic parity, scientific research and all this kind of stuff, when they started getting close, they should have started dropping those things to make it better for us, because then we were operating on roughly the same level, but they were taking advantage of us on those high tariffs. And so that's great. I'm all for that, leveling that playing field and forcing those nations to come to us and say, we need to rethink some of this. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. I am concerned about a couple of things coming out of China. And it baffles me as to why it's not such a big deal here in the U.S. How many of you know that China has joined in with Russia to build a nuclear power plant on the moon? Didn't know that? Yeah, look it up. It's there. Russia and China joined together. They formed a joint task force, joint operation to build a nuclear power center on the moon. They're collaborating on building a base on the moon. And the United States, even though we're talking a big game, are doing absolutely nothing. Except for we are working on finding the water, which is there. We are working on finding or putting in place the communication system that NASA wants to put a communication system, satellite system around the moon, satellites around the moon. Yeah, that one. But if they get up there and do that and build their base, which they hope to have in place by, I think, before 2050, which I'll be long gone by then, and the plans will likely change. But they think ahead really far out there and start moving in that direction. And sometimes they have to adapt and change things. The Democratic Party of the United States has failed miserably at that one. The Republicans have too, actually. They're not as far-sighted as you would think. No, the Republicans have just locked in on, we've got the person we want there in the White House right now, and we're getting everything that we wanted on steroids. It's working out for us. And then they spend their day attacking James Comey's 8647 comment and transgender people in this country. The Democrats, on the other hand, just let it all go by. Just don't, they aren't saying a thing about any of these things. The first thing you ought to be doing is standing up for James Comey having the ability to say things, freedom of speech kind of stuff. Didn't incite any kind of misbehavior, as they said all morning long on Fox News. No, it's not inciting bad behavior. Look, Lord, my God, just look at what they're doing with trans people. They're putting them out there in the spotlight and going, these are people we don't want around. We want to make sure they're not here. And they're dishonorable people because they aren't living the way they were born. There's so much hypocrisy in that statement. It just absolutely blows the mind. It does. It does. I hope everybody's doing all right today. So whoever's watching, you can put a comment down there in the bottom in the chat box. Maybe I can see that. And I know that we've got a lot of drive-by viewers too. So just have fun watching, and I'll say hi to you as well. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have fun. If you're a government employee, I would love to hear from you. I did speak to a postal worker yesterday. It was yesterday or the day before? Day before yesterday. She's a mail carrier. She was in her blue and white uniform, and she was delivering mail to a law office, a lawyer friend of mine, and so she's there delivering the mail. So I asked, I said, so what's going on with the Postal Service these days, with all the cuts and service conditions and questions about all of that and everything? She said, well, we all know, she said, this is what she said, we all know that for every employed mail carrier, there are a lot of contractors out there that this doesn't apply to them, but for anyone who works for the VA or for the Postal Service, they've got a GPS tracker on them to track their time and their steps and what they're doing and where they are and how far along they are on their route. But there are 8, she told me there are 8 people in management over her. 8 people in management. So that needs to be cleared out. There's no doubt of that. There's no doubt of it at all. So some of these things actually need to happen to fix things and improve efficiencies. But we don't want to get into this fallacy of thinking that the federal government is a business. It's not a business. It's in the business, a broadly used term, of providing services to American citizens. That doesn't mean that it is a business looking to make a profit, even though wouldn't hurt if it did. But that's not its reason for existence. Its reason is to be a service to American citizens. And so if the services being provided are not efficiently done, now bureaucracies don't run that way. There's a lot more nuance to it than that. And everybody says it's just black and white, clear. No, you can't go in and just indiscriminately just take over everything and clear and throw people away. You shouldn't anyway. You should actually assess whether or not what the function is of a particular job before you close the door and shut off their IDs. And it's particularly important if you go into NIH and remove all the scientific researchers and say, hey, we don't want that research. You can't say those words. We don't like those words. You can't research anything to do with gender and gender dysphoria and anything like that. You just can't. We don't want that. I mean, that comes right straight out of Project 2025's Mandate for Leadership. If you haven't read it, well, we've been telling you about it forever. Go find it. There's a PDF out there. Don't buy the darn book. They got enough money as it is, like $150, maybe $200 million. Yeah. So there's a lot of things going on. At the top of the hour, I started talking about James Comey with his 86-47 thing that he posted. And I also started talking about Air Force One. I did see an image the other day that had a Trojan horse put onto the front of that jet. That's about what it's like. Anyway, seeing no comments or anything like that, hey, come back this evening at 6 o'clock Eastern time, and we'll do it again. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Bye-bye.